very warm and pleasant morning to the respected dignitaries, scientists, staff, and all the students.
Mark Twain once metaphored, aren't we all nothing but seedlings? And today, from this podium, I'm witnessing the grandest produce of the academically fertile IRI campus, nourished by the sap of their chairman and finally photosynthesizing their raw knowledge into fruitful novel research.
Convocation ceremony is the celebration of savoring the hard-earned fruits, a much-awaited event in every student's life. It is a day full of joy, a day of pride as well as accomplishment. As and we as students are blessed to be a part of this eminent institute that gives us the privilege of celebrating this crossroad in the form of a week-long festival.
And so, on behalf of PG School I extend a warm welcome to each one present here to the 58th Convocation Week program of this institute.
And here we begin the first day of the Convocation Week on a very enthusiastic note, wherein the students are given another opportunity to prove their excellence and give a glimpse of the hard work put in by them during their research, which gives fruitful results as well as publications, thereby adding shine to our prestigious institute.
आंखों में कई सपने बाकी है उन सपनों में अभी उड़ान बाकी है अरे अभी तो नापी है मुट्ठी भर जमीन अभी तो सारा आसमान बाकी है This day is a much awaited day in the whole IRI student life, wherein the cream of every division are eager to present their significant achievements in the master's and doctorate degree for getting the most prestigious merit medal as well as the best student of the year award.
I welcome our dignitaries, Director IRA, Dr. A.K. Singh, Dean and Joint Director of Education, Dr. Rashmi Agarwal, Convener of the section, Dr. Anand Ahuja, Professor, Principal Scientist, Biochemistry, and the Chairman of the Judging Committee, Dr. V.S. Toma, former Vice-Chancellor, GNKVB, Jabalpur, as well as all the members of our Judging Committee.
Let's start the program by taking blessings from God Saraswati. So, let's welcome upon the stage our PG students for the invocation song.
thank you for creating such a serene atmosphere by, by this melodious prayer. Now we would like to take the opportunity to call all the dignitaries for lighting the lamp.
Thanks to all the dignitaries. Now we would like to request the Dean and Joint Director of Education, Dr. Rashmi Agarwal, to kindly welcome the dignitaries on the dais with a bouquet of flowers and deliver the welcome speech.
Good morning, all of you, and a very warm welcome on the prestigious occasion of our 58th Convocation of PG School, which is going to begin from today, the 10th of February. It's a week-long program, and I welcome all of you. Dr. V.S. Tomar, former Vice-Chancellor, Jawaharlal Nehru Krishi Vishwavidyalaya, Jabalpur, who is the chairperson of today's presentation, Dr. V.K. Bhatia, former Director, IARI, New Delhi, Dr. R. Srinivasan, former Project Director, NIPB, New Delhi, Dr. W.S. Dhillon, he is ADG Horticulture Sciences 2, ICAR, Dr. T. Janki Ram, ADG Horticulture Sciences 1, New Delhi, ICR, Dr. D.P. Abrol, Dean, Sher-e-Kashmir University of Agriculture, Science and Technology, Jammu, our beloved director, Dr. Ashok Kumar Singh, Director IARI, and Dr. Anil Ahuja, who is Professor Biochemistry and also the convener of today's Students' Merit Presentation. All the dignitaries of the dais, professors, head of the divisions, JDs, faculty members, scientists, students, ladies and gentlemen. I extend a very warm welcome to each one of you on the opening day of Convocation Week program, which is 58th Convocation of IARI. I feel privileged to stand before all of you on this occasion of 58th Convocation of this great institute, which has a rich legacy of excellence in teaching, research, and extension. The IARI students' research constitutes an integral part of the overall research output of the institute, and the contributions emanating from students' research have been valuable in terms of quality and practical utility. And this is reflected that we have more than 300 publications which have emanated out of the theses of the students who are getting degrees during Convocation 2009, who got degrees during 2019, and of which more than 50% publications were having a NAS rating more than 6, and the maximum NAS rated paper was 13.91. So this is a reflection of the contributions made by our students. Today, for the merit presentations for the significant postgraduate students research, there are 27 total presentations, 17 M.Sc and 10 Ph.D. students from those eligible and first rank students who are going to receive their degrees in 58th Convocation, which is scheduled to be held on February 14, 2020. So these presentations, let me share with you, are mainly for two purposes. First is the selection of 5 students from M.Sc and another 5 students from Ph.D. group for merit medals. And then number 2 is the selection of 1 M.Sc and 1 Ph.D. student for the Best Student of the Year award. So in fact, we have a 6-member judging committee to assess these presentations, and all of them are icons in the agriculture field in general and in their own field in particular. So with these words, I would like to request our director, Dr. A.K. Singh, to welcome the chairperson of the judging committee, Dr. V.S. Tomar, with a bouquet of flowers. On behalf of PG School IARI, I extend a very warm welcome to our director also. And also now I would like to welcome all our judging members who are in the audience, among the audience on the front row. Dr. V.K. Bhatia, director would like to present bouquet. Dr. V.K. Bhatia, former director, IARI. We welcome you, sir. Dr. R. Srinivasan, Dr. R. Srinivasan, former project director, National Institute of Plant Biotechnology. Dr. W.S. Dhillon, ADG Horticulture Sciences, ICR, New Delhi. Dr. T. Jankiram, ADG Horticulture Sciences, ICR, New Delhi. Dr. D.P. Abrol, Dean, Sher-e-Kashmir University of Agriculture, Science and Technology, Jammu. Thank you, sir. I would also like to welcome Dr. Anil Ahuja, Professor, Division of Biochemistry, IARI, who is the convener of this session. Now, I will apprise you briefly about the judging committee members. Dr. Vijay Kumar Bhatia, who is a former director ISRI. He is alumnus of IARI, who obtained his MSc and PhD degree from ISRI. He served ISRI in various capacities and ultimately joined as director ISRI in 2008 and served the institute till 2013. He is a recipient of many awards and honors, including IARI Best Teacher Award, Dr. D.N. Lal Memorial Lecture Award, Professor P.V. Sukhatme Gold Medal Award, Bharat Ratan C. Subramaniam Best Award for the Outstanding Teacher in Agriculture and Light Sciences, which was awarded by ICR in 2011. He has been the Vice President, Indian Society of Agriculture Statistics, and also member United Nations FAO Steering Group of Agriculture Statistics from 2012 to 13. He was President, International Indian Statistical Association, India Joint Statistical Meeting, and he also is a member trustee of this organization. He was Vice President, Society of Statistics and Computer Applications, member editorial board of many of the journals, such as Indian Society of Agriculture Statistics and Society of Statistics and Computer Applications. Dr. Bhatia is a fellow of NAS, National Academy of Agriculture Sciences. He is a life member, Indian Society of Agriculture Statistics, Society of Statistics and Computer Applications, and Indian Society of Agriculture Sciences. Dr. Bhatia has made significant contributions in the areas of agricultural statistics, statistical genetics, and applied statistics. We warmly welcome Dr. Bhatia on this occasion and accepting our invitation to be one of the jury members. Dr. R. Srinivasan, who was former PD and IPB, he obtained his M.Sc, B.Sc, M.Sc, and Ph.D, all the 3 degrees from Banaras Hindu University. He joined Agriculture Research Services in IARI way back in 1977, and he has served in various capacities in IARI. Excuse me. He was a member of core group of scientists who were responsible for establishment of then the Biotechnology Center in 1985. Dr. Srinivasan has more than 35 years of teaching experience and was involved in teaching various courses on molecular biology and biotechnology to the postgraduate students of IARI. He has guided 14 PhD and 5 MSc students and joined as professor in the discipline of biotechnology in 2010 and was the project director NRCPB from 2012 to 14. He was awarded Overseas Associateship of DBT, and he worked on the molecular aspects of agrobacterium plant interactions at the University of Washington, Seattle, USA from 1985 to 86. He also received FAO fellowship and went to California, USA in 1993. He worked extensively in the area of molecular biology and contributed significantly, specifically in the areas of enzymology, isolation of genes and promoters and functional genomics. He is a recipient of BHU Gold Medal for standing first in M.Sc. Dr. Srinivasan is a multifaceted personality who appreciates intriguing problems of science and is also a connoisseur of art and literature. He is a very well-read person with command in several languages. So we welcome you, sir, on behalf of PG School and on behalf of Director IRI. Dr. W.S. Dhillon, who is ADG Horticulture ICR, he is joined PAU in 1987 as Assistant Horticulturist, and they later on became Horticulturist 1996, and also then became as a Director PAU FRS, and then finally joined ADG Horticulture Sciences ICR. Dr. Dhillon developed 30 technologies on propagation, protection and post-harvest management, which also included the package of practices of Punjab Agriculture University. He published 5 books for PG students. Dr. Dhillon is a recipient of a large number of prestigious awards and honors, to name a few: J.C. Anand Gold Medal by Horticulture Society, Distinguished Scientist by High-Tech Horticulture Society, Hans Raj Pahwa Award by PAU, then Lifetime Achievement for Honor in Sports also by PAU Ludhiana. He is also recognized by many professional societies, and he was chairman Cost Norms Committee for Nursery and Seed Production, member High Powered Committee to evaluate progress of CIH, and also chairman of ICR committees for the establishment of Citrus Center at Abohar. Dr. Dhillon is a fellow of Horticultural Society of India. He is also a best athlete, which we could see from his biodata. Dr. Dharampal Abrol, Dean Faculty of Agriculture, Sher-e-Kashmir University. Dr. Dharampal obtained his M.Sc degree from Jammu University and PhD from HAU Hisar. He has been serving this university, Jammu, in various capacities, including Professor of Entomology from 2006 to 2017, and then Head of Division of Entomology from 2008 to 2015, and then Controller of Examinations from 2012. He also served as Director Education in 2017, and in charge Head Division of Plant Breeding, then Agriculture Extension Education, Agroforestry, Food Science and Technology. He joined as Dean in 2016. He was a visiting professor of University of Krakow, Poland, and also he visited Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, Zurich, Switzerland. He is a recipient of many awards and honors, including Chief Editor of Academic Council of Entomology, Editor of Indian Bee Journal, and also life member of the International Union on Study of Social Insects. Then also he is a member of Entomological Society of India, New Delhi. Expert member to review a large number of projects related to codling moth in Jammu and Kashmir, and also chairman of many expert committees. He is fellow of Royal Entomological Society and then member Niti Aayog subcommittee for development of beekeeping. He is a member QRT also in All India Coordinated Honeybees and Pollinators. Dr. T. Janki Ram, he is an eminent horticulturist and presently serving as Assistant Director General Horticulture in ICAR. He completed his M.Sc and Ph.D. in horticulture with specialization in vegetable sciences from IARI, this very prestigious institute. He has outstandingly contributed to floriculture research and development in his career, which is spanning to 30 years. Dr. Janki Ram started his career as a scientist at Indian IAHR Bengaluru and also headed the division of floriculture and landscaping at IRA New Delhi from 2009 to 14. He is known for developing a large number of varieties, and he released 6 China aster, 15 chrysanthemum, 15 gladiolus varieties, and 5 hybrids of tuberose. He is recipient of many awards and fellowships, including PNASF Gold Medal Award, HSI Gold Medal 2009, ISOH Lotus Puruskar in 2010, and then Best Scientist Award in 2013, and also he won the Lifetime Achievement Award in 2014 by High Tech Horticultural Society. He is closely associated with activities of Rose Society of India also, and he is widely traveled in the country and abroad. He has traveled Germany, Netherlands, Turkey, Israel, Malaysia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Thailand, and many more countries. And he has given large number of trainings and presentations. As the head of the Division of Floriculture and Landscape at IARI, he provided dynamic leadership in teaching, research and extension, and guided PhD students. He has authored 12 books, 15 bulletins, and published 50 research papers in international and national journals. So with these brief biodata of all the jury members, I once again welcome them and also welcome our chairperson of today's merit presentation of the students and all the people, all the faculty, staff, students, ladies and gentlemen. It's a warm welcome to all of you on the beginning of our 58th Convocation Week program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for briefing the audience. Now we would like to request.
Thank you very much. Very good morning to each one of you. And at the outset, I would like to wish all the best to all the students who are going to make their presentation for the IARI medal. In the beginning, we had the lighting of lamps, and you have 2 circles. The top circle has 5 lamps, bottom circle has 5 lamps. What they designate? The 5 senses of knowledge at the top, because all Gyanendriyas, they are located in the upper part of bodies. Then you have 5 senses of action, which is located in the lower part of body. So the lower one represents the senses of action. And there has to be a coordination between the senses of action and senses of knowledge. And I am sure with the invoking Goddess Saraswati, you are fully enlightened and you have complete coordination of your senses of knowledge and action, and you are going to do your best. I have to briefly introduce our Honorable Chair, Dr. Tomar, who served as Founder Vice-Chancellor of Rajmata Vijay Rajesh India, Gwalior University, and also full-term Vice-Chancellor at Jawaharlal Nehru Krishi Vishwavidyalaya, Jabalpur. He did his Master's from Jabalpur, Ph.D. from Pantnagar, Postdoctoral Fellowship at IARI, Fellow of National Academy of Agricultural Sciences, and won Jawaharlal Nehru Award for his best PhD thesis from ICAR. He is a distinguished soil scientist and water management expert. We also have a very distinguished jury today, and the students who are going to present their work, they are one to one and second to none. And therefore, it is a very tough job for the jury to make a just decision. But I am sure with this kind of jury and the chair, I had once an opportunity to serve as a member of selection committee in Jabalpur under chairmanship of Dr. Tomar. And what impressed me the most, the manner in which he conducted the interview board and the fairness of selection process. And with that, I am sure we are going to get the best of the best identified for the medals. Wishing you all the very best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your kind remarks. Now we would like to invite the convener of this session, Dr. Anand Ahuja, for explaining the rules regarding the gold medal presentations.
The Honorable Chairperson of the session, Dr. Vijay Singh Toma, former Vice-Chancellor, Jawaharlal Nehru Krishi Vishwavidyalaya, Jabalpur. Respected members of the judging committee, Dr. V.K. Bhatia, Dr. Srinivasan, Dr. Janki Ram, and Dr. D.P. Abrol, Dr. W.S. Dhilo, we welcome you to this prestigious institute known for its exceptional contribution in the field of agriculture. I also welcome Dr. A.K. Singh, Director of the prestigious institute, Dr. Rashmi Agarwal, Dean and Joint Director, Education. Of course, Dr. J.P. Sharma couldn't attend this program today. So all other eminent guests of the dais, head of the divisions, professors, faculty members, and dear students. So as you will all agree, this premier institute has played a great role in shaping the landscape of agriculture education in the country and has prepared many leaders over the years by providing them the inspirational learning experience during the student life. Sir, our institute is home to many cherished traditions. Celebrating Convocation Week is in the month of February. Every year is one of the most joyous traditions which we all look forward to. So continuing with this old and rich traditions, today we are going to start this year's Convocation Week with an all-important session on significant postgraduate students research, which is a platform to showcase the achievement of our best performing students to the scientific community all over the world. So in this session, students nominated from different disciplines of the PG School IARI will be making their presentations pertaining to their thesis work with an aim and hope to earn coveted IARI Merit Medal and Best Student of the Year Award. So here I would like to brief the chairperson and members of the judging committee about the stern screening process which is being followed to obtain the nominations of the candidate from different disciplines. So to cite a few, the students should have a minimum OGP of 8 out of 10 for being eligible for this nomination. And in disciplines where more than one students are having OGPA more than 8, screening is done at the divisional level on the basis of certain pre-qualified parameters such as number and quality of the research papers published out of the thesis work, patents, products, and processes emerging out of the thesis, etc. So Board of the Studies of the discipline then approves one nomination each for M.Sc and the Ph.D. So this year, sir, 18 M.Sc and 10 Ph.D. students were nominated for the merit medals and the Best Student of the Year award from different disciplines, but one student would not be able to present due to some unavoidable reasons. So now we have total 27 presentations scheduled for the day from diverse areas ranging from the applications of the nanofertilizer to identification of the rice bacterium to use of the CRISPR-Cas technology for altering undesirable traits. So as a convener of this session, it is my pleasant duty to apprise the august audience about the various rules and the guidelines governing this award. So for M.Sc students, sir, the OGPA carries a weightage of 60 marks, while 30 marks they are devoted to today's presentation about the thesis work, which will be given by the 5 esteemed members of our judging committee. And rest 10 marks, they belong to the research publications, products, seminars, and processes emerging out of the thesis. And for PhD students, sir, the weightage for the OGPA is less. It is only 30 marks, while the weightage for the presentation and the research publication, etc., it is 40 and 30 marks respectively. So coming to the today's presentation, I would like to inform the audience that the judging committee will be evaluating the candidates on the different parameters such as the quality of research work and its potential impact, so which has a weightage of 10 and 20 marks for M.Sc and Ph.D. students respectively. And then their way of presentation, which carries a weightage of 10 marks both for the M.Sc and Ph.D. And then quality of slides and the time management, for which 5 marks have been allocated. And then also the ability of the candidate to answer the questions, because at the end of the presentations, an opportunity will be given for the questions. And this also carries the 5 marks both for the M.Sc and the Ph.D. So presentation, as I said, has overall weightage of 30 and 40 marks respectively for the M.Sc and the Ph.D. students, sir. So I would also like to inform the chairperson of the session, the member of the judging committee, and the students who will be making their presentation today about the time allocation for this presentation. So for M.Sc, sir, time allocation is 10 minutes, and after 8 minutes, the yellow light will blink. So that will indicate the student to sum up the presentation, and at the end of the 10 minutes, red light will come up, and student exceeding this time limit may be subjective to the negative marking. And for PhD students, sir, yellow light will come after 10 minutes to indicate the student to wind up in next 2 minutes. And after 12 minutes, red light will blink, which is a signal to the student to stop the presentation. Otherwise, it may fetch him or her the negative marks. So with this brief introduction, I would like to wish all the contestants good luck for their presentations. From my own experience, I assure you all that this session, it is going to be a real intellectual feast for all of us. So let's appreciate and relish the feast together quietly, patiently, and actively to encourage and motivate the speakers and to enrich and broaden our own knowledge. So in the end, I thank each one of you for your presence in this August hall for this all-important session. So now I take this opportunity to request the Honorable Chairperson to kindly conduct this session further. Wishing you all a wonderful day. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for guiding our students. Now, we would like to welcome the chairman of the session, Dr. V.S. Toma, for his valuable remarks.
Dr. A.K. Singh, the Director of IARI, Madam Rashmi Agarwal, Dr. Anand Ahuja, my friends, judging committee members, honorable members, professor heads, other faculty members of the IARI, and dear students. I am really happy to learn that this is the first day of the convocation, 50th convocation, and with this program, the convocation program or the week of the convocation starts. So I congratulate the director of IARI and the students and the faculty of this institution to take up the 50th convocation on a large scale. We saw wonderful preparations are going on and very good mood of IARI. This is very good thing. Friends, can we start because time? Okay, can we start? So we can take up the students first, M.Sc students, and thereafter probably after lunch the Ph.D. students. Ph.D. students will be after lunch. The students will have presentation, and then the discussion will be open. We can take one or two from the audience and from our honorable members. There is 7 minutes then? 8 minutes. 7 to 8 minutes for discussion. No, not for discussion. Presentation 10 minutes. 10 minutes, 8 minutes. Okay. So can we start? Yeah. So may I request Nandini Saha, Ms. Nandini Saha, to go ahead with. Welcome.
Good morning to all the respected jury members, dignitaries on and off the dais, and the audience. I welcome you all. I would like to start my presentation with a famous quote by Albert Einstein: "Nothing will benefit human health and increase the chances of survival of life on earth as much as the evolution to a vegetarian diet." Vegetable is one of the most important sector of horticulture in India, which contributes 59.3% of the total horticulture production, and India is the second largest producer of vegetable in this world. Among vegetables, tomato, onion and potato are the three most important crops in Indian context, which are most widely and extensively used in every single Indian household. They share more than 40% area under vegetable crops and also contributes more than 50% of the total horticultural production. They are also used in various different forms in Indian culinary recipes as well as non-cooking purposes, and they are also very important crops for the food processing industries as well. They are so important that our respected Prime Minister has addressed them as top crop, and he said whichever part of the country you go, three vegetables are very much visible: tomato, onion and potato. That's why I call them top priority. But the tomato, onion and potato growers are hit hardest in recent times because of extreme price volatility. Price of the three crops always remain a great concern for both consumer and producer, and government often find itself on the edge in fulfilling its dual objective to ensure remunerative price to the producer and reasonable price to the consumer. Because of the glut situation in the market, sometimes price goes so low that farmers throw away their produce, and sometimes price shoots up so high that it burns the pocket of the consumer. Several such cases has been reported in newspaper from time to time. So why it happens? It happens because of their seasonal production, perishable nature as well as high dependency on weather condition, which causes arrival fluctuation, which coupled with inelastic demand leads to high price fluctuation. Price fluctuation causes inefficiency in the functioning of the market, it creates uncertainty in the price paid by the consumer, it adversely affects the farmer's income as well as poses major challenges for the policymakers. So what can be done? Market integration can be a way to deal with this problem, because when markets are integrated, price moves together and price fluctuations are lesser. It is also a necessary condition for stabilizing prices across regions. It also increases efficiency in the functioning of the market as well as provides remunerative price to the producer and reasonable price to the consumer. Along with that, proper information regarding prices, analysis of data and forecasting of price favors the policymakers by providing an insight about the future prices. It also helps the producer to plan the marketing of the produce to acquire more profit. It also plays a major role in managing demand and supply and also strengthen the linkage between production and marketing. With this backdrop, the title of my thesis was selected as a study of market integration and price forecasting of major vegetables in India. The object of the study were to analyze the trend, seasonality, variability in price and arrival of tomato, onion and potato in major markets, to examine the extent of integration of major tomato, onion and potato markets and price transmission among them, and to model and predict the price of tomato, onion and potato in major markets. The study was entirely based upon secondary data which was collected from Directorate of Marketing and Inspection, and 4 markets for each crop was selected on the basis of highest market arrival and data availability, and daily wholesale price and arrival data was collected for the period 2009 to 19, and from that weekly, annually and monthly data was calculated as per the need. In the first objective, we have tried to find out the trend, seasonality, variability present in price and arrival of these 3 crops. From the calculation of linear trend, we have found that market arrival has increased throughout the year for all the markets of the crops, except for Azadpur market of potato and onion and Ahmedabad market of tomato. In case of nominal price, the trend coefficient was found positive for all the markets. However, in case of real price, the trend was found negative except for Bangalore market of potato and Kolar market of tomato. To gain and more insight about the seasonal behavior of these crops, we have also calculated seasonal index, and for arrival it varied from market to market. However, in case of price, the seasonality followed similar pattern for all the markets of the respective crops. Variability calculated with the help of Cardinal-Valley index showed that in onion markets, the variability present in price was much higher than variability present in market arrival. The similar was observed in case of potato markets as well as tomato markets. Since the absence of market integration is one of the reasons of price fluctuation, we have tried to find out whether the markets are integrated or not in our second objective. For that purpose, we have used augmented Dickey-Fuller test and Phillips-Perron test to check whether the price series are stationary or not. And for co-integration purpose, we have used Johansson co-integration test, and for price transmission purpose, we have used Granger causality test. From the result of augmented Dickey-Fuller and Phillips-Perron test, we have found that price series of different onion markets are non-stationary at level and stationary at first difference. When the test was applied to the potato markets, the similar result was observed. And in case of tomato markets also, we found that all the 4 markets are non-stationary at level and stationary at first difference. Then coming to the co-integration test, it was found that the different price series of onion markets rejected the null hypothesis of no co-integrating equation, and there is at least one co-integrating equation present among them. That means we can say onion markets are integrated. Similarly, from the potato markets result, we have found out that potato markets are also integrated. In case of tomato markets as well, we have find out the similar result. Since the markets were found integrated, we have tried to find out the direction of price transmission among them. And in most of the cases, bidirectional price relationship exists except for Azadpur Ahmedabad and Azadpur Bangalore market of onion. And in case of potato, similarly unidirectional price relationship exists only between Bardwan Bangalore and Azadpur Bangalore market. In case of tomato, the one-way transmission of price was observed between Pune Ahmedabad and Pune Azadpur market. In the third objective, we have tried to model and predict the price of these 3 crops in major markets using ARIMA as well as GARCH model, and for last 10 years weekly wholesale price data was used. For forecasting purpose, we have used Lasalgaon market of onion, Agra market of potato and Kolar market of tomato, because these are the markets with the highest arrival of the respective crops. For fitting of ARIMA model, we have used autocorrelation function, partial autocorrelation function, and also lowest Akaike information criteria value. The fitted model for Lasalgaon market was found to be ARIMA 110. In case Agra market, it was found ARIMA 112, and in case of Kolar market, it was found ARIMA 212. Then the price series was tested for the presence of serial correlation and arch effect, and it was found that both the attributes present among them. So we have used GARCH model for forecasting also. Then the forecasted price of GARCH as well as ARIMA model was compared with the onion price, actual onion price of Lasalgaon market, and it was found that GARCH forecasted better price with lesser error. Similar was observed in case of potato price of Agra market as well as tomato price of Kolar market. Now coming to the salient findings of my study, it was found that trend in nominal price as well as arrival was positive in most of the markets. However, in case of real price, the trend was found negative. The price seasonality followed similar pattern for all the markets of the respective crops, while variability present in price was much higher than variability present in market arrival. The markets were found integrated and bidirectional price transmission relationship exist in most of the cases. An arch effect was present in the data, and GARCH model forecasted better price with lesser error. Now coming to the way forward, there are several reasons of price fluctuation, and among them we have only studied that is the absence of market integration, and there are several other reasons which causes price fluctuation which are need to be further addressed. From my M.Sc thesis, 3 papers has been accepted in peer reviewed journals, and also I have participated in conferences, workshops and several cultural activities during my M.Sc tenure. Lastly, I would like to acknowledge my Chairperson Advisory Committee, Division of Agricultural Economics, PG School IARI, ICAR JRF, my family, seniors and friends. And lastly, I would like to conclude my presentation with a famous quote by Mahatma Gandhi: "The difference between what we do and what we are capable of doing would suffice to solve most of the world's problems." Thank you.
Now it is open for discussion. To initiate, meanwhile my colleagues will put up some queries. What is the impact? What do you think this research will give some impact from the viewpoint of farmers, improving his income?
Sir, since the market were found integrated, so what are the reasons which are causing the still so much price fluctuation, like the artificial scarcity created by the middleman and the storage facility and other infrastructural development that need to be studied. And also, sir, if we use the GARCH model for forecasting prices, I think we can help the farmers and also the consumers in a better way. Yes, sir. No, sir, it's a wholesale price.
It's a wholesale price.
Yes, sir.
So you have not included what is the remuneration which the farmer pays.
Sir,
That's
no.
not considered.
No, sir.
Nandini,
Yes.
can you name one government initiative that was taken for the price stabilization of
Yes, sir.
potato?
Operation Green was taken to
Any other,
stabilize the price of these crops.
any other initiative?
Sir, no.
Thank you.
How your study will be useful to the farmers?
Sir, that thing I have told, sir, that if we try to focus the price in advance and if there is lesser error, then that can be helpful for the farmers, as well as, sir, when the markets are integrated, we have to try to find out what are the causes that are causing this much price fluctuation in these crops, and other regulations can be helpful also for the farmers. Thank you so much.
Agriculture Extension, Bhagirath Das. अच्छा, on नहीं था.
Honorable Chairperson of the session, respected jury members, distinguished scientists, and my dear friends, good morning and welcome. Our food should be our medicine, and our medicine should be our food. This old yet famous line signifies how important food is for our survival. Food provides us energy in the form of carbohydrate and fat, protein which contributes to the structure, function and regulation of tissues and organs, and vitamins and micronutrients which are required for tissues and our immune function of our body. India has long been a stronghold of food insecurity and hunger. During British rule, India had faced 31 famines which caused more than 4 million lives. So after independence, India chose to gain self-sufficiency in terms of food production, and we eventually achieved it through the success of Green Revolution. Now, the concept of food security only accepts the availability, affordability and accessibility to food. However, a person consuming adequate amount of food may still suffer from malnourishment if the food does not contain all the nourishments required by our body. Thus, the concept of food and nutritional security arose, which also included stability and utilization as its components. India is home to 47.4 million stunted children, which was 62 million before, though the global burden of malnourishment has decreased from 38.4% to 23.8%. At the same time, the prevalence of obesity has doubled from 14.6 million to 29.8 million. Today, we are leading a stressful life accompanied by pollution due to urbanization, and the incidences of non-communicable disease like diabetes and cardiovascular disease are also increasing, which calls for a healthy and balanced diet that can provide all the nutrients required by our body. And here comes millet in the bigger picture with many nutritional and health benefits. Millets are low in gluten and they are very easy to digest. They contain low fiber, which reduces the risk of colon cancer and constipation. They release lesser percent glucose into bloodstream over a longer period of time, thus reducing the risk of diabetes. They contain low fat, which reduces the risk of cardiovascular disease. And last but not least, they are highly rich in micronutrients, which as compared to other staple cereals like rice and wheat. Despite of all these benefits, millets have long been stigmatized as poor man's food, and the area under cultivation of millets have been decreasing over the years. However, realizing the potential benefits of millets, the year 2018 and 2023 has been declared as National and International Year of Millets. Under this context, a study titled Status, Prospects and Challenges of Millets as Nutritional Food for Enhancing Nutritional Security in India Stakeholders Analysis was undertaken with these following objectives. For the present study, Rajasthan and Karnataka was selected purposively as these two states are leading in production of pearl millet as well as finger millet respectively. From each state, one district, and from each district, one block was selected purposively. From each block, 2 villages, and from each village, 30 numbers of farmers were selected randomly. From each district, 30 urban consumers were also selected randomly. In addition, 27 extension personnel were also interviewed, thus making the sample size 207. Coming to the first objective, to study the status and prospect of millets in India. From compound annual growth rate analysis, it was observed that production productivity of pearl millet, productivity of finger millet, total production and domestic consumption has shown increasing trend over the years. However, the area of pearl millet, area and production of finger millet has shown decreasing trend at the same time. The variability or instability was studied by using Cuddy-Della index, and it was found that production productivity of pearl millet, productivity of finger millet, total production and domestic consumption has shown higher degree of variation over the period of time. To measure prospects, a number of statements were prepared and the respondents were asked to rank them according to their preference. The overall ranking obtained by Garrett's ranking method showed that farmers had ranked climate resilient crop, resistant to biotic and abiotic stress, require less inputs as top 3 prospects. Contrarily, extension personnel had ranked nutritious food, require less input and climate resilient crop as top 3 prospects. Coming to the second objective, to study the factors affecting millet production and consumption. From box plot distribution of average yield across all the states, it can be seen that the yield level in case of pearl millet is higher in Gujarat and Tamil Nadu among all the states, and in case of finger millet, the yield level is higher in case of Andhra Pradesh. To discern the factors affecting production of millets, stochastic frontier model was fitted, and it was found that price of the product, human labor, machine labor, seed rate and total fertilizer significantly determines the yield level in case of pearl millet. Here price will act as positive inducement for adopting better agricultural practices, thus increasing the yield and fetching better price. The positive estimated coefficient of human labor and machine labor signifies that pearl millet is a labor deficit crop, and with more labor the yield can be increased. Taking Gujarat as the base state randomly, the state effect on yield was estimated, and it was found that Haryana, Karnataka and Maharashtra is having lower level of yield as compared to the base state. In case of finger millet, it was found that price, human labor and total fertilizer will significantly determine the yield level of finger millet. However, unlike previous observation in pearl millet, here price will act as negative inducement for adopting better agricultural practices. Coming to the consumption part, from correlation matrix, it can be seen that the per capita monthly pearl millet consumption is negatively related with total cereal consumption, which signifies that pearl millet does not make it out to the consumption basket of a person if he increases the total cereal consumption. It was also found that the consumption of pearl millet increases if the state is producing pearl millet. To identify the factors affecting consumption of pearl millet, generalized linear model was used, and it was found that only production center significantly determines the consumption level of pearl millet, and any other factor included in the model failed to show any significant relationship with consumption level. Proceeding to the third objective, to study the knowledge and perception about millet and millet based products among stakeholders. To measure knowledge, a standardized knowledge test was developed and validated. From classification of respondents, we can see that most of the farmers had medium and very low level of knowledge, as contrarily most of the urban consumers had high and medium level of knowledge. The independent sample t-test confirmed that there was significant difference between the two group of respondents in terms of overall knowledge. Thus, null hypothesis was rejected. It was also found additionally that the two group of respondents were significantly different in terms of overall knowledge about nutritional aspects, which can be rationalized because farmers may be lacking various scientific knowledge regarding nutritional properties of millets. Now coming to the perception, it was measured by using a summated rating scale with 5-point continuum. The classification of respondents showed that both farmers and urban consumers had perceived moderately and strongly millets as nutri-health food. From independent samples t-test, it was found there was no significant difference between the two group of respondents in terms of overall perception. Thus, the null hypothesis was accepted. It was additionally found that the two group of respondents were significantly different in terms of nutritional aspects, availability and accessibility, consumer acceptability, age preference and economic aspects. The fourth objective was to develop and validate e-learning module on millets as nutri-cereals. For this purpose, one e-learning module was developed and the content was validated on 4 parameters. In content and design, style of presentation, readability and understanding content was ranked as top 3. In ease of understanding, clarity, subject matter and specificity of content was ranked as top 3. In case of utility of the module, ability to create interest, sensitize and motivate was ranked as top 3. And in case of satisfaction of felt information need, relevancy, credibility and usefulness of information were ranked as top 3 respectively. The study could be relevant for policymakers, research and extension organization to promote millets as nutritious food so that they can formulate suitable strategies, and the e-module that was developed that can be used as a means of creating awareness among the consumers about various benefits of millets. Now, the significant contribution to the knowledge domain of extension was to development of knowledge test, perception scale and an e-learning module. The research can be extended to other parts of the country where millets are not staple diet yet, and the findings of macro level analysis of factors can be complemented by micro level study to see if there any variation exists or not. From the research work, 4 research papers has been penned down. I have attended a conference and I am happy to inform you that I have also been selected as a PhD student in dual degree program in Western Sydney University. And I would like to thank all those who have helped me during the tenure of my research and made it a successful event. And to conclude, a good nutritional habit is not developed in one day. Neither it will be destroyed with just one unbalanced meal. However, the choice is ours whether we want to eat good nutritional food or not, because it will obviously help us to enhance our performance throughout our life, because we are what we eat. Thank you.
Now it is open for discussion. Can I have a query with you?
Yes, sir.
Please, the millets, specifically the minor millets, like your finger millets, are primarily grown in undulating, poorly productive soils, and therefore the input is low and production is also low. But even then, the farmers are not getting remunerated prices. Now that affects the consumption at other levels too. What do you think?
Sir, can you repeat the question, please?
My submission is that the production of minor millets is low. Maybe many reasons are there. But even then, in those areas, farmers are not getting the remunerative prices. Whereas, when it is processed, then processed materials are available, products are available, then the prices are 10 times or 15 times higher. So what can you suggest from the viewpoint of farmers, how they can get better prices?
So there are many factors, like right now the productivity of, as compared to other cereals, the productivity of millets are very low. So introduction of higher yield varieties will be a very important thing, and moreover, as you said, from processed products, the price is very high. So if we can enhance the value addition of millets and also create commodity groups of farmers so that they can get a better bargain of the price, it can help them.
Next, please, from the audience, please, and experts. Members, please. Yeah.
Is there any scope for integrating horticulture crops with millets for nutrition security? If so, just one example.
So integrating millets with horticulture crops, when I visited Karnataka for data collection, I saw one farmer, what he was doing, that previously he used to cultivate millets in 10 acre, but he reduced the cultivation of millets into just 2 acre for his domestic consumption only. The rest of the things was dedicated to pomegranate cultivation, which fetched him better prices at that time.
My question is, you used value addition. So value addition point of view, just give me one example.
For value addition from millets, through processing, many products can be made, like porridge, then biscuits, which are very high in price if we see in the shopping malls. However, the price that farmers are getting is very low. So processed products, if we bring new processed products and link them with farmers, integrate farmers, that will fetch them better price.
Thank you.
Mr. Das, as an extension worker, you said that productivity of millets is low as compared to the potential productivity of all these crops. As an extension expert, what do you think that why our productivity is low when technologies are available and those are capable to enhance the productivity? Why those technologies are not going to the farmers for adoption level?
So there are problems in terms of from farmers level as well as from the communication by extension also. Like while interacting in Rajasthan, the farmers whom I interacted with, they all were cultivating the indigenous varieties of millets. The pearl millet I am talking about, the pearl millet variety had low productivity, and I asked why don't you cultivate the high yielding varieties which are available, and they had very good contact with Central Arizona Zone Research Institute also, but they told the main thing are two. One is the taste is different. For indigenous varieties, the taste is far better according to their perception. Another thing is that they believe that the indigenous varieties can be more resistant to biotic and abiotic stress. Even with very limited rainfall, they can give better yield as compared to the high yielding varieties. That is the perception.
Excellent presentation. I just have one query, that what is the shelf life of millets? Has it got anything to do with the processing and its further utilization?
Yes, that is one problem with millets, that their shelf life is low as compared to the wheat and rice. While interacting on farmer, he also told that the wheat flour they can keep for longer time, but the shelf life of millet is very less, so they need to consume as soon as it is made into flour. So that is a problem in processing also.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well done.
Hello. 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 Okay.
Now, can we take the third one? Mr. Kaushik back.
Honorable Chairman of the session, respected jury members, dignified scientists, and my dear friends, a very good morning to all. The population of India is expanding, and to feed up this burgeoning population, there is need to increase the production. According to World Resource Institute, India is the 13th largest water stressed country of the world and will emerge as the second largest top hotspot of the world by the middle of the century. The breadbasket of India, the northwest, will be the most vulnerable in this case. Still then, according to Central Water Commission, irrigation would be the dominant user of India's fresh water. Now the question is, can we produce the required food with available water? Yes, we can, but the focus has to be shifted from maximizing productivity per unit land area to productivity per unit water, thus achieving Prime Minister's objective, per drop, more crop. But under semi-arid environment, evapotranspiration is a dominant loss. To maintain sustainability, conservation agricultural practices should be adopted. But under conservation agriculture, what should be the right time, right amount, and right method of application of different inputs? Solving this problem by conventional field experimentation is rather time consuming, labor intensive, and costly. But on the other hand, modern technologies like remote sensing, crop simulation modeling, GIS, and data analytics are fast, repetitive, and cost effective. Among this technique, crop simulation model is a potential tool, integrating weather, plant factors, soil factors, and management factors. Besides providing those opportunities, also helps in understanding the interaction, forecasting yield, and policy making. Keeping all these information and its analysis, we have taken up a research project on modeling evapotranspiration and water productivity of wheat under tillage, residue, and nitrogen management with the following three objectives. The study was conducted during 2017-18 and 18-19 at IARI Research Farm on HD 2967 variety of wheat in a split plot design. My main plot factors were conventional tillage and no tillage. Subplot factors are with the addition of residue mulch and without mulch, and subplot factors were 50, 100, and 150% recommended dose of nitrogen. Under the first objective, various physical properties are analyzed in relation to soil water dynamics, and it was found that due to increased porosity under no tillage with residue retention, the bulk density was decreased, while due to increase in macro porosity under conventional tillage, the hydraulic conductivity was increased significantly up to 60 centimeter depth, while addition of residue, it was increased significantly up to 15 centimeter depth. Due to least disturbance of the soil, mean wide diameter was higher in NT and with residue mulching at the surface layer. while the penetration resistance were decreased in this treatment up to 20 centimeter depth. All these improvement in physical health contributed to our higher profile moisture storage with residue mulching to the extent of 7.8 and 3.9%. Soil water flux was also computed following Darcy-Buckingham equation using soil moisture characteristics, and it was found that soil water flux was positive up to 60 centimeter depth, and under no mulching condition it was increased, while due to addition of residues the downward fluxes like deep percolation increased significantly. The evapotranspiration loss was computed using soil water balance and where runoff loss is neglected. The evapotranspiration was higher during 2018-19 and under NT it was increased due to continuity of pores. With increasing nitrogen levels, evapotranspiration increases, but addition of residues, the evapotranspiration was decreased. The evapotranspiration was further fractionated into potential evaporation and potential transpiration with Ricci's equation, and it was found that NT R0 N60 treatment producing maximum evaporation losses and NT R plus N180 treatment producing maximum transpiration losses. To characterize the plant growth, we have taken leaf area index, and it was significantly higher under NT residue mulching with higher nitrogen doses, while the crop growth rate was found also similar result with that of LAI. To characterize the root growth, we have taken root samples from 0 to 15 and 15 to 30 centimeter soil depth, and after proper washing it was analyzed with WinRhizO software. Various root growth properties were found significantly enhanced under NT with residue mulching due to higher porosity, lower penetration resistance, lower bulk density and higher aggregation in this treatment, while with increasing nitrogen levels it was also increased significantly, but the root diameter was decreased in these treatments. The yield and water productivity of wheat was significantly higher during the second season, which may be attributed to higher and well distributed rainfall and lower temperature stress. Although there was no effect of tillage and residue on grain yield, but with addition of residue, the water productivity increased significantly due to increased yield and lowering of evapotranspiration losses. With increasing nitrogen levels, both grain yield and water productivity increases significantly. But the question is, how does different factors interact on water productivity? To find out this, under the second objective, we have used aquacrop model. The name itself justifies its significance. Besides, aquacrop also take very limited number of inputs to simulate the water productivity. The model, instead of besides taking weather, management and other factors, also takes carbon dioxide concentration to normalize the water productivity. The model was calibrated during the year 2017-18 and validated during the year 2018-19. This is the conservative, non-conservative and fertility stress model parameters with their calibrated values. Instead of taking weight of residues, aquacrop take percentage of residue cover of the surface. For that purpose, we have taken images from the field and analyzed through NV remote sensing software. After selection of proper region of interest for each classes, it was analyzed using supervised classification algorithm. The model was calibrated for grain yield and biomass yield, while during validation it was found that model could account 83, 83 and 74% variation in grain yield, biomass yield and water productivities. Further, the model was also validated for different parameters like temporal variation of soil moisture, canopy, biomass accumulation and temporal variation of canopy cover for different treatments. To find out the robustness of the model in predicting grain yield, biomass yield and water productivity, a sensitivity analysis was performed by changing the input parameter plus minus 25% and analyzed accordingly. Among various parameters were selected for the study of sensitivity analysis. Ultimately, we have found that relative biomass due to fertility stress, reference harvest index and normalized water productivity are highly sensitive model parameters. So, that is how different factors interact on water productivity. But can we develop some recommendations? For this purpose, under the third objective, we have used IIWBI recommended irrigation schedule for northwestern plain zones of India. Using 2 tillage, 5 level of irrigation, 2 residue and 3 nitrogen management practices, we could develop 72 scenarios, and these scenarios were run individually in the validated aquacrop model for a wet year and dry year, and nomograph were prepared in terms of grain yield and water productivity. Among various combinations of nomograph, we have found that NT with residue mulching and 3 irrigation for a dry year and NT residue mulching and 2 irrigation for a wet year could maximize the water productivity without any significant loss in yield. So, the overall conclusion of my presentation are, the water productivity of wheat was significantly enhanced due to residue application and higher nitrogen doses, while the aquacrop model can satisfactorily simulate grain yield, biomass yield and water productivity under different tillage, residue and nitrogen management. NT with residue mulching and 3 irrigation at CRI, jointing and grain formation in a low rainfall year, while 2 irrigation at CRI and flowering at high rainfall year could maximize the water productivity without any significant loss in yield. My study will be helpful in recommending that NT with crop residue mulching and 150% RDN could save 2 to 3 irrigation depending on the weather variability in the northwestern plain zones of India. My study can be further forwarded for regional level yield prediction using different remote sensing and GIS approaches, while performance evolution of HD 2967 variety under climate change scenarios can also be done. Out of my research, 2 papers has been accepted, one in Indian Journal of Agricultural Sciences with a NAS rating of 6.25, another in Journal of Agricultural Physics with a NAS rating of 4.31. Another paper is also in the pipeline. I have also attended many conferences and workshops, and as well as participated many cultural as well as sports activities of IARI and awarded with certificates. I would like to acknowledge my chairperson, my advisory committee, Division of Agricultural Physics, PG School IARI, ICR for the fellowship, parents, teacher and friends. Lastly, I like to conclude my presentation with the words of Dr. Swaminathan that if conservation of natural resources goes wrong, nothing else will go right. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Mr. Das.
Thank you.
Now the subject is open for discussion. Meanwhile, I will have 2 queries, small 2 queries.
Yes, sir.
Why did you use specifically the eco crop model? Number
Sir,
one. Number one. Number 2 also. The 2 years study you have conducted for 2 years, use of tillage and residue application. Do you think the property that you showed here, I will connect in other property, will change in 2 years?
Sir, first of all, I would like to answer your first question that I have selected this aquacrop model because my work is on water productivity, and the name of aquacrop model itself justifies that it is a water productivity model, and we also used it for validation of evapotranspiration. That's why I have selected what aquacrop for specifically simulating the water productivity. And second, it was it was conducted on an experiment which was running for long terms. So the properties of that that experiment that was a long term experiment, and we were just calibrating and validating our model to simulate that performance of the model was justifiable in that situation or not. Okay, sir. Yes, it is. Okay, sir.
You started your presentation, your background slides were on sensors, remote sensing tools,
Yes,
modeling.
Yes, ma'am.
And your thesis title was on conservation agriculture. I just want to know whether precision agriculture and conservation agriculture are same or different. If they are same, how? If they are different, how?
Ma'am, my thesis title is Modeling Evapotranspiration and Water Productivity under Different Conservation Agricultural Practices. So my target is first modeling, then to model that performance of the different.
No, my question is very simple. Don't forget about your thesis.
Yes,
question is whether CA and PA, precision agriculture and conservation agriculture, are same or different.
Ma'am, precision agriculture they are different.
How?
Because precision agriculture we should recommend the judging the instantaneous conditions of the the situation demands the recommendations, but conservation agriculture should be adopted it is a long term cumulative effect. So the result would be specified after several years of experimentation.
Just go back and search the answer for this. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sure. Please. From the audience? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Now, may I request the fourth one, Krishnapada Sarkar? Please go ahead.
A very good morning to one and all present here. I am Krishnamodha Sarkar, representing the discipline of agriculture statistics. I welcome you all to my presentation. Let me begin my presentation with a quotation by Dr. S. Appan that statistics is like salt in the food. Nobody realizes its significance when it is there, but everybody feels its importance when it is not there. The history of Indian agriculture dates back to several centuries. However, adoption of modern technologies have transformed the Indian agriculture from its subsistence nature to commercial. Soon after independence, India was in ships-to-live situation with severe scarcity of food grain. Today, we are not only self-sufficient food grain production, but a net exporter, thanks to Green Revolution. However, farmers' welfare has not improved much. Farmers are facing low income, leading to farmers' distress, moving out of agriculture, hunger and poverty, trapped in debt, and sometimes they also take some extreme steps. Here are some statistics about these issues. Some important news highlights about these issues are also included here. Considering these issues, government has also undertaken the vision on doubling the farmers' income by 2022, which is also included in the strategy for New India at the 75. And to achieve this, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, PM Kusum scheme has been launched. Inam and farmers portals are also created. And in the recent budget, some new scheme like Kishan Rail, Kishan Uran, and Village Storage scheme has also been announced. Generally, a statistician uses a time series model to discover the pattern in the historical time series and forecast that pattern into the future. Accurate and timely price forecast is very much needed for the farming community, for the government, for policy making, and for agribusiness industries. Recently, Niti Aayog has also recommended that reliable price forecast model is today's need. Now, what about the performance of traditional time series model and classical estimation technique? Traditional time series model does not consider the correlated variables, and classical estimation technique gives only point estimate of parameter, does not consider the prior knowledge, and sometimes suffers from problem of overfitting. Then what is the way out? So there is a need for development of improved model and framework. With this background, we have formulated the research title as Development of Bayesian Framework for Long Memory Time Series Model with the following two objectives. My first objective is to develop the Bayesian framework for Archimedes model for forecasting of long memory time series, and to illustrate the Bayesian Archimedes model using real data set and comparison with the classical estimation technique. And for the study, data was collected from the sources. After getting the time series data, at first autocorrelation function is plotted, and significant autocorrelation and higher lag indicate possible presence of long memory. That means the present value of the time series depends on distant past. And for modeling this type of long memory, generally autoregressive fractional integrated moving average model is used, and the model is given by this equation. But sometimes along with the study variable, we have exogenous variable which are significantly correlated with the study variable, like market arrival may affect the market price of a commodity. This type of exogenous variable may be incorporated in the model to get a more improved model, like Arfima with exogenous variable, that is Arfimax model, and the model is given by this equation. In many practical situations, along with the likelihood function, we have the prior probability, and this prior probability can be revised to get the posterior probability using the Bayes rule, and posterior mean can be taken as the Bayes estimate. Now, why Bayesian approach? Because it provides more improved estimate as it considers prior as well as likelihood. Then full posterior distribution of the parameter are also obtained in this method, and parameter estimate obtained in this method are more stable, and the confidence interval obtained in this method are more closer to the parameter. But there exists the situation with large number of parameters, and in such cases analytical derivation of posterior distribution using Bayes rule is difficult. Then what is the solution? The solution is Markov chain Monte Carlo method, which approximates the posterior distribution by generating a large number of samples from the proposed distribution. With this, we have proposed the Bayesian framework for Archimedes model, where at first likelihood function of the Archimedes model has been derived, then prior for each parameter has been defined. After that, posterior distributions are approximated using the Metropolis husting algorithm. Then stationarity and convergence of the obtained Markov chains are tested using the Heidelberger and Wells test and Gell-Mann and Rubin test. After confirming this test, posterior mean is taken as the parameter estimate. And for the illustration purpose, daily wholesale market price of potato and arrival data was collected from the Agra market, and series were plotted, and daily minimum market price and arrival data of garlic was collected from Ahmedabad market, and series were plotted. And for the study, market arrival was taken as exogenous variable, and our interest was to model the market price. Correlation test was done using t-test, and it has found that market arrival is significantly correlated with the study variable, that is price series. After that, stationarity of all the series are tested using the ADF and PV test, and it has found that both the arrival and return series are stationary. Then SCF plots are plotted, and significant autocorrelation even at 500 lag indicate possible presence of long memory. And for confirming the long memory, GPH and stereo test have been done, and it has found that both the series possess the long memory property. So after confirming the long memory property and significant correlation, Archimedes model is fitted using the classical estimation technique, and it has found that all the parameters except parameter beta is significant. These series were again considered in Bayesian approach under this prior setup, and Metropolis hosting algorithm was employed considering 1 lakh iterations, out of which first 30,000 iterations were taken as burn-in period, and already calculated maximum likelihood estimates were taken as the initial value for the iterations. Chain plots are obtained using the R software. They set the chain plots for the parameters of Bayesian Archimedes model, and this chain plots suggest how the parameter is taking values over the iterations. This change stationarity is tested, and the test result suggests that all the parameters passed the stationarity test. Convergence is also tested using the Gelman and Rubin test, and it has found that all the parameters met the convergence criterion. So after confirming this test result, posterior mean can be taken as a parameter estimate, and it has found that all the parameters are significant along with lesser standard error. Posterior distribution for each parameter has also generated using R software, like this is the posterior distribution of the intercept or constant term indicating Bayes estimate and ML estimate. Similarly, posterior distribution of other parameters as well are generated using the R software, and from this distribution we can generate summary statistics like mean, mode, median about each parameter. For comparative performance, root mean square errors are calculated, and it has found that Bayesian Archimedes models are having lower RMSE value indicating outperformance of Bayesian Archimedes model over the classical one. So this study can conclude that parameter of estimates found in fitted Bayesian Archimedes model are more stable in nature, more numbers of parameters are significant in Bayesian method, and lower RMSE values implies that Bayesian Archimedes model outperforming the classical one, and full posterior distribution of the parameters are also generated in this method. R code for the proposed Bayesian framework has also been developed. Then my research one can be practically applied for modeling and forecasting of prices of other agriculture commodities as well, so that accordingly farmer can decide when and how much to sell their produce. Similarly, can also be applied in weather variable like rainfall and temperature. My research work can be further extended for developing the model considering more than one exogenous variable. Sensitivity analysis of the model can also be done under different prior setup, and Bayesian approach can also be combined with the artificial intelligence. Out of my research work, one paper has been accepted in Indian Journal of Agricultural Sciences, one paper has been accepted in the Journal of the Indian Society of Agricultural Statistics, one in Bharatiya Krishi Anusandhan Patrika, and one in under communication. Besides, I have been also awarded with USDA funding support to present my work in the 8th International Conference on Agriculture Statistics held in New Delhi. I have been also participated in Young Statistician Seminar organized by USDA in New Delhi, and also presented a paper in international conference organized by ISPS in Bhubaneswar. I have been done some extracurricular activities as well. At last, I want to take the opportunity to sincerely acknowledge everyone who helped me directly or indirectly. And finally, I want to conclude my presentation with the quotation by Mahatma Gandhi that recall the phase of poorest and weakest man you have seen and ask yourself if the step you contemplate is going to be of any use to him. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, subject is open for discussion.
What criteria you have chosen to identify the distribution of the priors?
Based on the extensive review of literature. But in future aspect, we can do the sensitivity analysis of the model under different prior setup.
From the audience, any? Okay, I have one query. Please. The impact from the viewpoint of farmer and the community that you indicated in the beginning. What impact do you think on that?
Sir, if we forecast the price with a greater precision, farmers can know what will be the price of that commodity. Accordingly, they can decide how much to sell their produce or how much to store their produce. And accordingly, they will get the better prices, and farmers' income will be benefited.
Do you think he has that capacity for storing it and thinking that he has not to sell today or he will sell after 1 month or 2 months?
Some facilities are there, like farmers producing organizations, and recently also government has launched the village storage scheme so that farmers can store their initial product. And now Kishan Rail and Kishan Udan schemes are also announced so that farmers can transport their product to national and international market in refrigerator coaches.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Hello. Hello. All the dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, a very good morning to one and all. A recent report by FAO suggests that there has been a rise in undernourished population over the last few years, and India was positioned 102nd rank in Global Hunger Index, which is serious in category. And the Joint Child Malnutrition Report clearly depicts Asia bears the greatest burden of malnutrition, sharing 47% of overweight to the 68% wasted children. Simultaneously, India bears the greatest burden of death under 5-year children, and nearly 69% of death and 4% GDP loss is due to the malnutrition. Further, it has been reported that the area with high to moderate zinc deficiency is associated with higher hidden hunger, which indicates undernutrition due to the poor quality of food. Hence, zinc is one of the most cost-effective solutions for overcoming malnutrition because its deficiency caused 16 million and 2.8 million disability-adjusted life years in globally and in India respectively. Further, elevated CO2 condition could add nearly 50 million people could be zinc deficiency in India by 2050 according to the prediction made by the Nature Climate Change, which have several health implications like immune dysfunction, impaired visual action and cognitive impairment. Then what is the reason behind it? It is clearly visible that they are more dependent on the grain-based diet. Hence, it is imperative to fortify the grain with the zinc. However, it is the yield that matters to the farmer before nutritional security, and there is almost stagnation in the rice yield over the last few years. And to improve the productivity, we need nutrient. But at the one end, we have the higher amount of NPK demand over worldwide, and due to the excess rate of nitrogen application due to the subsidized urea, and also limited reserve of P and K, which will be end up in someday. With this set of problems, we cannot, there are several problems like climate change, soil quality degradation, and with this set of problems, we cannot improve the productivity, nutrient uptake, and also higher grain zinc content, and thereby hindering our achieving vision of doubling farm income and also SDG 2.2. Can you answer this dual question of NPK saving and also higher grain zinc content, which will be a win-win situation for us? Yes, it is the nanotechnology which have size less than 100 nanometer, leading to particular higher surface area and having unique optical, electromagnetic and also thermal property. Recently, the Honorable DG ICR has also emphasized use of nanotechnology at several platforms, particularly the nano zinc fertilizer, which have several use like higher nutrient uptake, better crop growth and higher yield over conventional zinc sources. But there are some unanswered questions, that is, what is its role on productivity, nutrient uptake and also zinc fortification of rice grain, which need to be addressed. To shed light on this, the present study was formulated evaluation of zinc oxide nanoparticle embedded NPK complex fertilizer in aromatic rice with following objectives, that is, combine application of nanoparticles along with NPK fertilizer on growth and productivity, nutrient uptake and also economics of aromatic rice cultivation, with 4 set of treatment, that is control, recommended dose of fertilizer along with conventional zinc sources, that is zinc sulfate and zinc oxide, and combine application of NPK along with combine application nanoparticles along with varied rate of NPK in RBD with the 3 replication to check what fraction of NPK can be saved along with the ZNO nanoparticle. Before using nanoparticles was characterized by the XRD, which confirm the zinc oxide Urgite structure, and to know whether the nanoparticle, whether the size in the nano range or not, the sonicated sample was observed on the TEM, and it was found that the mean particle size is 38 nanometer, which is in the well nano range, and the FTR was done to know whether any functional group is present or not, and it is found there is the different functional group on the surface of ZNO nanoparticle. Coming to the first objective, all the growth parameters are positively influenced by combined application of nanoparticles along with the NPK fertilizer, and the mean CGR was significantly higher in RDF along with the ZNO nanoparticle due to the higher nutrient uptake, and the higher Stiller per meter square is recorded in RDF along with the ZNO nanoparticle, which resulted in more number of panicles per meter square in this treatment, and also the conventional zinc application resulted in more number of panicles per meter square over only NPK application. Coming to the grain yield, the highest grain yield was recorded in full NPK along with the ZNO nanoparticles, which was at par with the 75% NPK along with the ZNO nanoparticle, which indicate that the significant amount of nutrient can be saved, and there is 14% higher grain yield over conventional zinc sources, and there is the least reduction in yield, that is 75% NPK along with the ZNO nanoparticle in comparison to the highest grain yield, and the highest reduction in yield is observed in control. Coming to the second objective, that is zinc partitioning. The zinc partitioning is done in leaf sheath, leaf blade, husk, bran and white rice kernel, and the double S is used for the using standard procedure, and it revealed that the highest zinc content was observed in bran, followed by hull, followed by white rice kernel, and the highest zinc content was observed in RDF along with the ZNO nanoparticle, which indicate higher zinc uptake in this treatment in different fraction. And there is 16% higher zinc content in white rice kernel over conventional zinc sources, which indicate fortification of the rice grain is more suitable in combined application of nanoparticles along with NPK fertilizer. Coming to the zinc uptake by grain and straw, it was found that the highest zinc uptake was observed in grain and also in straw in RDF along with the ZNO nanoparticle. The reason could be that the higher grain yield along with the higher zinc content resulted in higher zinc uptake, and also there is higher zinc uptake due to the better availability of nitrogen, which could have promoted the secretion of phytosideraphore and also zinc transporter, which increases the zinc uptake. To further conceptualize whether the combined application has any role on nutrient saving or not, it was found higher N, P and K recovery is recorded in RDF along with ZNO nanoparticles. This is the reason because the zinc oxide nanoparticles helped slow release of NPK fertilizer, which saved significant amount of nutrient. And coming to the third objective, that is economics of aromatic rice cultivation, it was found higher gross return, rate return was recorded in full NPK along with ZNO nanoparticles, which was at par with 75% NPK along with ZNO nanoparticle, which indicate profitability of application by in the nanoparticle. In a nutshell, there is 14% higher grain yield in over conventional zinc sources in 100% NPK along with ZNO nanoparticle, and 16% higher zinc content in white rice kernel, which indicates superiority of nano zinc in fortifying the grain, and combined application could save a significant amount of nutrient. This study can be further extended to other cereal crop, vegetable crop and other crops also. And there is a need to understand the long-term consequence of the nano zinc, and it can be also explored in other micronutrients. I have two publications, one in Indian Journal of Agriculture Science and other in Indian Journal of Agronomy. I have received one Best Poster Award out of my research work, and also I have two First Prize Award in sports, and represented IARI Inter-University Sports Meet, and associated with All India Agriculture Student Association, and a life member of Indian Society of Agronomy, and qualified UGC NET with the first rank in SRF as well as Ph.D. and presented oral presentation, and I have attended several national, international conferences and symposium. Finally, I would like to acknowledge my chairperson, advisory committee, member and all for their constant endeavor and support. I want to conclude my presentation with the famous saying that once in a life, you may need a doctor, lawyer, police officer or a preacher, but 3 times a day you need a farmer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Baral. Now, to begin with, you started with the poor quality of the food produced. Do you think that at present we are producing the food which is of poor quality? Number one. Number 2, come to the conclusion. In your conclusion, you have mentioned that 25% NPK can be saved if we use nanoparticles of zinc oxide. Do you think there is any interaction between availability of zinc and nitrogen or phosphorus or potash? How can we save that much amount of NPK? Thank you.
Sir, regarding the first question, that the current we are more better in the zinc content previously what we have produced, but we have also condition of climate change. Under elevated CO2 condition, there will be more the crop will be less nutritious. This is the first question, that currently we have more better position than the past, that we have higher zinc content in the grain, but under elevated CO2 condition, this has an impact that it can reduce the zinc content further. Regarding second question, sir, zinc oxide nanoparticle generally increases slow release of NPK fertilizer, and also there is higher soil native nutrient availability to be promoted. That's why it saves nutrient. That's why it saves nutrient. And also when we are combinedly applying nanoparticles along with NPK fertilizer, due to the higher nutrient nitrogen uptake, it is secrete several phytosideriphore and also zinc transporter, which increases higher NPK nitrogen uptake, zinc uptake, sir. Sorry.
Mr. Sahu, two small questions. One already related to the chairman. Think to improve the quality of the foods which are poor in nature today, and you increase the zinc content in the rice grains.
Yes.
Do you have any data or study where you can say that the higher level of zinc present in the grains can be absorbed by the body? Is the body in a position to absorb all the zinc content present in the grains?
No,
Number
sir.
2, if no, then why we are giving so much importance for fortified foods? Number 2, 14 to 16% increase just by enhancing the zinc through nanoparticles. Is it, do you think, sustainable?
Sir, so far we have tried in the it is in the first year of trial. We have to, science has to go on. We have to see in the long term consequence. But what I have done, we have seen positive response on the zinc content. But in the long term study, there is need to understand the long term consequence of the nano zinc. It is in the nascent stage. Sir, zinc content, we can increase the zinc content, but the body depend on if we eat less nutritious food, body will be absorb less amount of nutrient. But if we consume more amount of nutritious food, it will be helpful for the higher zinc content.
Body system is such like that it absorbs only what the required quantity, which is already available in most of the food grains. When we enhance it, whether the body is able to absorb that or not, is it possible, or some studies are conducted, or it should be further investigated? What are your opinions?
So far, I don't have any idea in that study, but body required whatever amount it is supplied, it consume that amount of nutrient.
Any other query? Okay, thank you, Miss. Thank you very much. Now the next student, Mr. Sahu. Yeah, Miss Sahu. Smriti Rekha.
Yes.
Smriti Rekha, sure. Okay, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Present. मेरा 6th number. Good morning, everyone.
As you see here, Mother Teresa has already predicted about the rising incidences of malnutrition and starvation, which is quite evident due to India's poor performance in Global Hunger Index 2019. As you know, there are different forms of hunger, but hidden hunger summons the maximum attention because it occurs due to deficiency of micronutrients. It is often linked with malnutrition, which forms a vicious cycle of stunting, wasting, as well as obesity. These micronutrients are often directly linked to metabolism. They are actors or cofactors to enzymes as well as signaling molecules. But their deficiency might occur several lifestyle related diseases. Therefore, we should eat sufficient nutritious food to tackle this issue. Soybean is one such crop with an amazing nutritional profile, but on the other hand, it contains a range of anti-nutritional factors which provides a grey picture to the overall food matrix and composition of the soybean seed. Amongst the anti-nutritional factors, phytic acid is present at 1.2 to 3% of the seed weight. Phytic acid is a negatively charged molecule which chelates the bivalent cations, reducing their bioavailability. Along with this, due to the absence of phytase enzyme in the gut of the monogastrics, it leads to the release of the phytate complexes which pollute the water bodies, causing eutrophication as well as fish death. But it is not wise to completely eliminate the phytic acid because it is required in the early plant growth and development. Therefore, we need to strike a balance in the phytic acid levels. Our lab has successfully engineered the phytate pathway using RNAi, but due to the presence of transgenic footprints, we have now moved on to a rapid, precise, simple and transgene-free technique, that is genome editing by CRISPR-Cas9. CRISPR-Cas9 uses a simple guide RNA which guides the Cas9 endonuclease that recognizes the target by the PAM sequence. After this, the guide RNA will pair with the target DNA, and the Cas9 endonuclease will then inflict a double-stranded break, thereby cell using its repair mechanism heals these breaks using NHEG repair pathway, inserting and deleting the nucleotides in the process, thereby causing gene disruption. I have used this technique to target the MRP-ABC transporter gene, which sequesters the phytate salts as globoids in the protein storage vacuoles. Therefore, the title of my thesis is CRISPR-Cas9 mediated targeted genome modification for inactivating the phytic acid transporter, that is MRP-ABCC5 in soybean. For this, the following objectives were ruled out. My first objective was identification of the gRNA spacer sequences and their in silico validation, for which I have retrieved the partial CDS sequence from NCBI, put it into Stupa's CRISPR website, after which I have obtained 5 sgRNA sequences and screened for their off-target activity using Casa Finder, and using certain criteria, I have finalized 3 target sequences along with the unique restriction enzymes. After this, for in silico validation, I have used RNA fold server to know the sgRNA activity, and after this, I have used CRISPR scan score to know the on-target effect of the target sequences, and oligoanalyzer to know the GC content of the nucleotide sequences. After this, considering the optimum parameters, I have used target 3 for the development of my constructs. My second objective was development of CRISPR-Cas constructs and their in vivo validation using aggregate method, for which I have taken the forward and reverse primers of the target sequence containing the BBSI sites, annealed them at 50 degrees Celsius for 6 hours, after which I ligated them into BBSI digested P-blue gRNA vector, the integration of which I confirmed using unique restriction analysis as well as Sanger sequencing. After this, I have restricted the P-blue gRNA containing the target sequence using EcoR1, and it gave a release of 550 base pair band, after which I ligated it into the EcoR1 digested Cas9 plasmid, and then I have confirmed its integration by using plasmid PCR using the gRNA specific primers and Sanger sequencing. For in vivo validation of the construct, I have used a unique technique, that is aggregate method. In this technique, I have taken taken the agrobacterium containing the target sequence in the agroinfiltration buffer to a final OD of 0.6, then put it into a needleless syringe along with the cut soybean leaf disc and put pressure on the piston to enable the uptake of the constructs by the soybean leaf disc, after which I have incubated them for 4 days on MS agar media and extracted the genomic DNA from the same. After extraction of genomic DNA, I have amplified the genomic DNA using MRP ABC specific primers, and on sequencing it provided a single base insertion. After this, this insertion was found at 494th position, and upon sequence analysis and cluster W analysis, I have found a frame shift mutation at the 165th position, wherein the phenylalanine at the wild type was mutated to valine at the 165th position, and it also shows a significant change in the amino acid sequence, which could potentially disrupt the phytic acid transporter gene and let the phytate present in the cytoplasm itself. Therefore, the conclusion of my study was I identified the sgRNA sequences and validated them in silico, and I successfully constructed the CRISPR-Cas plasmid and validated the same using the Agrodate method. Therefore, these efficient targets then could be streamlined into stable transformation, biochemical and characterization of the mutants, and the generation of the CRISPR-edited low-phytate soybean mutants. One of my publication has been accepted in Indian Journal of Agricultural Sciences, and another has been communicated to Gene Expression Patents. I have presented poster in Agriculture Science Congress as well as a national symposium, and I have achieved this following Junior Research Fellowship, CSI UGC JRF All India Rank 79, participated in a national conference. I was a cultural committee member during IARI Convocation, and second prize in English essay writing. I'd like to thank my chairperson, professor and head of the division for giving me this opportunity to work in this frontier area, and all my advisory committee members and faculty for their constant support and motivation. Finally, this study will lay foundation for the development of low phytate transgene-free soybean mutants, which could address the nutritional concerns of the society. And as a proponent of this technique, I have submitted my comments on the recent RCGM's review draft for the risk assessment of the CRISPR-edited mutants. And finally, I'd like to say that this 21st century is the age of bioscience, and the emerging discoveries can be a single step for man, but it could prove as a giant leap for the mankind. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ahu.
Yes.
Now, at present, in many countries, only the table purpose soybean is grown. Only the table purpose soybean that has the low phytate. Okay. Now, why we are not going ahead with that?
So I couldn't understand.
In many countries now they are growing only table purpose soybean. Table purpose soybean, table purpose, direct eating, yeah. That is low phytate soybean, low phytate. Okay. Now, in our country, we are not doing like that. What is the basic difference?
So first could be the marketing of the soybean, consumer demand. In our country, although people are going for the nutritional, they are getting concerned for the nutritional security, but they have not realized the full potential of soybean. And the market of the soybean is generally restricted to a certain state. For example, in Madhya Pradesh, soybean market is very much there, but in other states it's not that prevalent.
From the house, please. Any query from the house? Please.
Hello. Sorry. Hello, ma'am. You are using a CRISPR-Cas technology for transforming the plant. So I want to know that the final product was transgenic or non-transgenic?
No, sir, it was not transgenic, sir.
And why?
Because even if we are putting the constructs into the plants, but we can remove it by using the backcross method, and the repair the entire technique is about the repair mechanism of the cell. Cell uses its inherent repair mechanism and introduces the indels in the process, thereby producing the mutant phenotype, which is very much similar to any kind of natural variation or naturally grown mutagenesis or like that. So,
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
you, sir.
कितना समय टाइम बता दो टाइम you will break for how many minutes?
So now it is 12, so we'll be meeting at 12:30 again. 12:20.
Yeah. Just have a cup of tea, then come.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
अरे यार